Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
We're here.
Good morning. We are.
Got a bit of a delay. We're not sure. There's so much weird stuff going on.
You know, technology. Meh.
I think what this morning
my Apple laptop needed to be restarted.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting like some flack about that.
If you're listening, Jared Halstead, I think she just admitted
and
to a
Hugo.
Mac
Hugo this morning was like, or
that
yesterday.
For those who didn't see it, there was a beautiful photo of the moon that some iPhone user posted.
It's Fantastic. A beautiful, beautiful photo of the moon. It looks an awful lot like a tortilla.
That's your opinion.
It looks an awful lot like a tortilla, but but you know, I'm still an Apple user and will be an Apple user forever.
Okay.
Good morning, Facebook user.
Hello, Facebook
that's that
user.
one right there. It might be Bill Elizondo because for some reason his name is no longer showing or something. I don't know. We need to go back in and do the thing. What's been happening last couple of days? Just lots of.
There's been a ton. Of course, we're coming off the short week, and
Good morning, GR Moore.
We're in the short week, I suppose you could say. But GR Moore saying hello from Texas. Hey, he's down south. Yeah, glad to have you here, GR.
Absolutely.
So we got a quick update. We got Bill Nealon. Sorry, I'm fatigued this morning.
That is Jim didn't sleep last night. So if he doesn't track, that's usually that's my shtick. But today it might be Jim's. So he gave me lots of good notes to follow.
If
just in case.
If I drift off, that's all you.
So we do. But Bill Nealon's going to be here on Friday.
Yep.
And
we're teeing up a bunch of stuff for the rest of September. Mm-hmm. So we'll keep you posted on as those things fall into place.
Yeah, we've got a lot of really great topics and invites that are out there or going out there so that we can get the schedule for September really dialed in.
And panels are a fun idea, but getting everybody to the same place.
Right. Yeah. So we figure that if we get 2 to 3 for certain things that we're going to just call that good.
Yep. I'm shooting for 3.
We're shooting for 3, but if we get 2 and Jim, then it's like a short panel.
What is that?
It's like a short, I don't know. It's not a short buzz.
So we dive into our topic for the day.
Happy White Hat Wednesday.
Yeah. Or White Shirt Wednesday.
Or White Shirt Wednesday.
In this case. So we got kind of 2 topics in one here. So I'm going to beg your patience, and we're going to kind of take the slow road on this because you've got 2 in one, and I think it's important to kind of understand some of the backstory, especially as it relates to, what you and I are doing, and that's kind of a separate subject in a way. But
we were talking this morning after we had already posted the subject that it's like, there's some other stuff that we've talked about extensively. In the broadcast that we did in March on
deal structure. Was not deal structure. You're talking about the enterprise value.
Enterprise value.
That was a March,
Thank you. See, I'm not tracking. And then we did this little video that was played before each session so that we knew that the panelists were like on the same track of the difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. So if you want to take a look at that, we've got all of the recordings from that on in the Institute, Buy Here Pay Here Institute. So that's really, really that. If you're looking to take your business to the next, take it into like business. This is a business where you can step away and and it can run and grow and improve without you physically being there. That's a really good thing to watch. So enough of pitch about that. So this is about kind of like the next step from being a business owner to.
Well, there's with the Robert Kiyosaki, there's the Rich Dad Poor Dad book out there that many have read. I hear it referenced often, and there's a quadrant. I think he calls it the cash flow quadrant. And in that quadrant, you've got employees. Right. You can be an employee. You can be
Mhm.
self-employed. You know,
Mhm.
you own the business and you're
Mhm.
self-employed, which is different than being a business owner, because when you're self-employed, the business is very dependent on you. You're pretty much, this part of what we talked about with our enterprise values, you're kind of tethered to the business.
Mhm.
Whereas if you were a business owner, you could own that business and somebody else is running it and you're able to enjoy income from it without being in the building, is kind of the way
Being
I
in the
said
building
it.
all the time, but like being involved, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
being
So
in the building all the
it's
time.
a difference in a way between being active and passive. I mean,
Mhm.
you can be an active or passive business owner, but if the business is dependent on you, then I would say that's, so if you still have to actively be involved.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because this industry just creates a lot of potential for being self-employed, and to like be the master of your own destiny, the captain of your own ship, all of those things. And so, and for some, it's, especially if you're newer and you're just getting your traction, that's not something that can happen soon. You've got a bit to build, but we see a lot of and speak to a lot of dealers that are at this point. There's a lot of them out there right now, and I think it's because they talk about the generation of people come into the business, or whatever business it is, and they retire, and things come in waves, and that there's a lot of business owners that came in the end of the 80s and into the 90s that are like, I want to do something a little different. And so what do I do? And that's why we had that thing where it's like, do you want to have to be in the business? Do you want to have to be tethered to, if I'm not there, everything's going to fall apart? Or do you, and what are your options? Because it was kind of like, do you turn it over to your nephew? Do you sell? Do you or instill certain policies, procedures, safeguards, the right people, and then let it just kind of run itself, kind of?
So I want to back up.
Okay.
All of that is important. I
Mhm.
think in addition to that, if you
Mhm.
go back even farther, I've told the story many times about, you're talking about somewhere around
Mhm.
1982, 1983. I'm sitting in the classroom building. Dr. Choiky is my instructor for calculus. And I'm sitting in the classroom building, and I remember
What year
this.
was this?
This was somewhere around 1982, 83.
Okay, so yeah.
I'm a freshman or sophomore on the campus of Oklahoma State University. And I remember sitting in a classroom building in his class and looking out the window and thinking, man, I just want to be in business. Is somebody going to teach me how to get in business? I don't understand how calculus is going to help me get in business. And so it was always a drive to be in business. And I got to say, one of the things that was a drive about being in business, being an entrepreneur, was I was always intrigued by the idea of creating something that would produce income even without me standing in the building. Like that was always the intrigue. That was always the thing that I was driven to do. And also across my career, I've shared that, it's one of the beautiful things. Like when I meet young entrepreneurs who have an interest in doing that sort of thing, I just always kind of share, if you're a surgeon as an example, somebody who gets paid an awful lot of money, and they typically get paid when they're on the job.
They don't have the option to be like off and have someone else do it for them and make the money.
And then you see these massive surgery centers going in. Maybe some surgeon has created a business that doesn't rely on them being the one performing surgery. Maybe, but it could also be a business owner who's created the surgery center
and hired the surgeon
and hired the surgeons. So it could be that way. So I think this is the intrigue and this is the opportunity. Certainly in Buy Here, Pay Here, we've got this amazing opportunity.
And I want to say when Jim was in calculus as a freshman at Oklahoma,
Oklahoma State University.
OSU, go
Pokes.
He wasn't thinking cars or auto financing or any of that. He just is like, I want to be able to drive my own ship. I want to be able to, in 82.
Yeah. And I ended up being, I managed the store for a few years, part-time in school, and end up becoming a partner in a business when I was 24. And that was kind of sporting goods pawn shop business. But I think the part that's relevant here as it relates to our Buy Here, Pay Here dealers that might be listening is like, when I look at our business in Buy Here, Pay Here, we have have tremendous opportunity. We almost have two businesses under one roof, which allows us, it creates a little margin for error is the way I think about it. It takes a lot of capital, yes, but profitability, and we hear this all the time. We see dealers go out of business that were profitable, right? They can sell themselves out of business, as I said. So it's like it's a cash management thing too. But really the main thing we wanted to drive for today when we talk about legacy and impact businesses, when I look at Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant, I see that self-employed, employee, self-employed, business owner. And then the last quadrant we didn't talk about was investor. You can use your earnings from business and become an investor, and you can earn money passively from other businesses that are performing. You can put your own resources to work and earn. And that's all beautiful. That's all wonderful. And it can even help create a legacy business. And we know many dealers in the buy here, pay here business that have created what I would call a legacy business. So what do I mean by a legacy business? It's a business that will survive you.
Or the impact of the business.
That's a different thing for me. So when I think about legacy is just, and so in Robert Kiyosaki's example, let's take it outside buy here, pay here. Somebody goes and creates a heck of a business, real estate business, right? So they built this business, and maybe it's going to be a real estate empire that is going to produce income for a family trust and for family members for many years. That would be a legacy. It would continue to operate even after they're gone. So that's part of what we talked about with our enterprise value day, is how to create that so that the business is such that it would survive us.
But you're talking about, I mean, because so then there's kind of like where you're coming from. There's two opportunities in legacy. One is a business that will continue to perform, that really can perform without you there, that your kids don't even have to step into it because you've got if they don't want to, that you've got a business that's set up that is, and an example of that, like, would you say America's Car Mart is one of those?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, they're big. Industry. They're a public company. So they're obviously, they have executives and they have a team.
But the original founders don't have to be there, and the kids probably aren't running it. And it's just,
they are still involved. I think
if they're still involved.
Had been through iterations. But I think the main point about legacy companies, it'll be here after you're gone, So if you created that business, then it continues to function. It continues to produce income, which is a beautiful thing. Now, if I want to go one more step, I would say if I can create a business that is going to outlive me and is going to make the world a better place. Okay. So that's the part that I'm saying is missing from the quadrant, because when I look at that thing and I think back to when I was a young man in calculus class, I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking that way. I wasn't really, that wasn't where my head was. My head was just how to create a living for myself and not have to work for somebody else, was kind of the drive. But that, if I think about now, how can I create a business that will be an asset to the community? This is kind of the white hat tie-in for us. That's a phrasing we use when we think about white hat way, is when we can be a white hat dealer that is regarded by most everyone in the community, your chamber of commerce, your people that you do business with, in terms of other service providers in your marketplace, your customers, obviously. So it's an asset to the community.
It's an impact. It's a positive impact in the community.
And so for me, when I think about in my own existence as a business owner, that's the best case scenario for me, is like, if I know that I can have an impact during my time on this earth, and I can create a business that will outlive me and that will continue to have a positive impact in my absence, that's the best case scenario for me. Somebody may have a better one, but for me, that's a beautiful scenario.
I think, and that's kind of what we're building is a business that can have a legacy impact. I think even as a self-employed person, you can have an impact business. Because I give an example is, how impactful is it if you're doing scholarships for someone that's pulling someone into education and they have a better way of life than their family did?
Right.
That's an impact that is legacy. That's the kind of impact when you're helping. When we talked to Candace Price, Nebraska, we're going to be having her on the show a lot, I think, because I really just love her way that she's impacting.
Mhm.
But that her main goal is, how do we help people buy their own home? What kind of impact? And that can be too. So yes.
Yeah, there's lots of things there. I think, for me, it's just like at the core, I
Mhm.
just am thinking bigger, and
Mhm.
that's what started to happen with Michelle and me in recent months. And I would love
Mhm.
one day to come back and tell the story about how you and I are going from self-employed business, and our business is very much moving to a place where we're going to own a business, not just so much be self-employed and
Mhm.
working in our business. So our own story is going to be relevant in that regard when people can
Well,
see the pieces that
yeah.
we have kind of put in
Yeah.
place that allowed us to take that step.
Mhm.
Okay. Because that's the thing that I think a lot of dealers out there would be able to follow the same model,
Mhm.
that we're sort of using for our business. And I've done it. Like the dealership that I owned for the first 3 years that we
Mhm.
were open, I was pretty passive. I mean, I was choosing to do some of the buying, and I was going to auction once or twice a week.
Mhm.
But that was my choice. I mean, that was something I wished to do to stay involved. But the business had a good manager. The business pretty much ran itself,
Mhm.
and so I can say I've been there. I mean, I've been as both a business owner, and I've been active
Mhm.
and passive in business ownership.
I have too.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
having crews. I used to own a caretaking, second and vacation home caretaking company.
Mhm.
And I realized when I got to the point where I was so busy taking care of everything, I was like, I need to hire employees, and I'm still going to charge this much. I'm going to pay. And so I could be at home
Mhm.
and just make sure that they're out there doing their thing. And I was able to create income that
Yeah,
way. But
yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
absolutely. No, I think that's the big lesson for today for me
Mhm.
was the kind of the theme of, and not everybody has this desire. Like I
Mhm.
don't mean that everybody needs to think that way, but I'm also saying if that is in your realm of possibilities and that's
Mhm.
something you wish to achieve, then that is achievable. That's
Yes.
all I would really say is somebody's just like, I'm recognizing that it's absolutely possible. And through our industry in particular, we have a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of people who need our help as buy here, pay here dealers.
Mhm.
And we have a chance to really have a big splash, make a big
Yeah.
difference in our communities. And so that's where I'm saying I think dealers have an opportunity here to do all of those things
Mhm.
in the realm of create a business, create a legacy business, become an investor,
Mhm.
and have a positive impact that will be around long after you're gone. So it's like
Yeah.
that's kind of what today
And
was
it's
about.
just, and it's also, when you're looking for ways to be impact, to have a lasting impact, it doesn't just have to be community. It can be your customer base. It can also be your employees.
Mhm.
What kind of programs might you have inside that for education, for, sending them to go learn this or whatever, and helping them improve their situation as
Mhm.
well? Because I'll tell you, if you do that within your business, that sometimes those that are, new recruits, new hires, and you develop them in the business, they can be your biggest asset for, like, in the future of the person that's running this, or the person that's taking care of that or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, take the opportunity to have impact also with
Sure.
your team.
Why don't we wrap up early today? A couple more announcements. We got why do you laugh? Because I
Just
want to go take a nap.
oh, he's so tired. I
I
think
did
he's had like 4 cups of coffee so far. I'm surprised he's not like this,
no, that
but,
doesn't happen with me. I don't know that I've ever
well,
experienced that, but
yeah. And for those of you that, know Jim, it's like, well, he doesn't look tired. Jim, this is Jim.
this is my face. This is what I look like. This is my excited face. This is my bored face. This is all
This
the
is his
above.
tired
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think for
Mhm.
today we covered the parts I wanted to cover. I
Yeah.
think we planted that seed for folks. I would just tell you a couple of things that happened. Our episode, a recent episode on APRs, like will APRs ever decrease?
Mhm.
Will some dealers
A
choose to lower
lot of
interest rate?
people.
There's been quite a bit of
Yeah.
interest in that. Look for
Yeah.
that to come back around in different
Yeah.
ways. We're going to talk about that more thoroughly in terms of deal structure and
Mhm.
kind of how to navigate the coming years as we kind of go through a shift in the
Mhm.
buy here, pay here space. So we'll continue to talk about that. We're being asked to talk about that,
Mhm.
and so I think that's something that will you can expect to see. Again, a reminder that we've got Bill Nealon from TaxMax will be
Mhm.
here Friday. We've got several dealer panels that we're teeing up
Mhm.
that you can expect to see in the month of September. We've got some other things up our sleeve.
Yeah.
And then also I'll remind everybody that the Marietta, which for those who don't know, that's Mid-Atlantic Region Independent Auto Dealers Association, a
Mhm.
multi-state organization up there. Their new executive director is our dealer
Is
friend, Tommy
Tommy?
Brandis.
Mhm.
And their event is on September 24th through 26th, which did we determine that's
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday?
Sunday through Tuesday.
Sunday through Tuesday.
So, and you don't have to be, in that region to attend, but certainly if you're in that region, it makes a lot of sense for you to be there.
Mhm.
So we would urge you to get
And
to that.
there's no price difference between someone in the region and someone out of the region.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay.
didn't know
Don't
those
quote me
details.
on that, but I'm
Don't.
pretty darn
Call
sure.
Tommy. I got his
Okay.
number. Let's put it on the screen. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll find out.
so yeah, that's if you're up in that area and or just are looking for another opportunity to get some great education and to be able to collaborate with fellow dealers and learn more about some of the things that are out there in the vendor space. That's a really great opportunity. And then we just coming up, those of you who are thinking about this, they're calling it a dealer forum this year, the Buy Here Pay Here dealer forum instead of
Mhm.
super forum. That is coming up in November, and that will be in Indianapolis.
I want to say November 13th through 15,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
check that out. That's definitely going to
So
be.
that's specifically for it's one of the only conferences out there besides Buy Here Pay Here United that is specifically for Buy Here Pay Here dealers.
Yeah, this is the fall
Mhm.
conference. It used to be NABD, then it was
Mhm.
BHPH Super Forum.
Now
Now I
it's-
see they're calling it Dealer Forum. So same basically
Yeah.
fall track, and this time in Indianapolis. So
I
we
believe
expect
that
to be
what they're
there.
planning on doing is a lot of dealer roundtable kind
Yeah,
of
they
format.
are.
And
That's
so
exactly right.
it's coming and, sitting down with your colleagues and your peers with a moderator and, doing a lot of work on how it's kind of like a national 20 group meeting, kind of, I think is what the format is going to be a lot about.
Well, and before that event,
Uh-huh.
October 12th.
Oh gosh, October.
It's 12th through 14th, I think. Let's
Yeah,
double
it's
check,
12th through 14th is LHPH,
LHPH Capital,
the summit,
their
and we
summit.
will be
Yeah.
there, and we'll be broadcasting from the actual conference, and we'll be interviewing some of the speakers after they've finished their address. So Jim's going to be busy listening to their address and coming up with like what are good questions that dealers might want to really to recap what it is that was just talked about. And so we'll be broadcasting that live
when they come off of the stage. We're going to chat live from San Diego.
From San
so
Diego.
those of you who have an interest in leasing,
and that will not be ticketed. So that will be something that we will be broadcasting out.
You mean the broadcast?
Our broadcast is not going to be a ticketed thing. This is going to be something that will be broadcast out on all of our social media channels, YouTube, LinkedIn, all of those things.
But I think a ticket is required for the LHPH
ticket is
summit.
to be there.
Yeah.
And
so for those contemplating leasing, we think it's probably going to be worth it.
Thank you
to
for
make
clarifying that.
Yeah.
Our broadcast won't be ticketed,
Right.
but to be there will be ticketed. And it's we had the opportunity to visit the folks there last month and saw where they're going to be holding it, and it's such a cool area.
Great.
It really is such a cool
great
area in
facility.
San Diego. There's just
Walk across the bridge basically from Petco Park where the San Diego Padres play. But yeah, it's it's definitely a nice opportunity. I would say for those of you younger dealers, you really probably ought to have a hard look at leasing before you step too deep into Buy Here Pay Here. I mean, they can both make a lot of sense, of course. So we just think.
Well, and Jim's been working on a tool that kind of puts them side by side, and is working with some of the folks at LHPH to get that. So that it really does, it gives you a really good educated view.
Yeah, because I've already been working on 5-year cash flow modeling.
Yeah. So someone asked, what is the video reference at the beginning? That is on BHPHinstitute.com. And that is the...
if you go into courses or products, I forget which, but it's going to be called the live stream on... enterprise value. Yeah. So you can find that. If you have a problem, just send us a message here. We'll make sure you know where to find it. But yeah, good stuff. I think we should wrap up and get on to the rest of our Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Thanks so much
we will
for
see you
tuning
again
in
on Friday with Bill Nealon.
And we're hopefully Jim's going to be fully rested, because then you'll be able to compare. Maybe I'll do a snapshot of what his face looks like right here.
I don't do well on 4 hours of sleep. I just don't do well.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your week. We really appreciate your support. Also, if you haven't already, go to YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. There it is, Jim and Michelle Rhoads Octane Group. And like and subscribe that. And then you're always going to have, there's a lot more content about things that Jim has done, probably 10, 15 years worth of content there.
I'm so tired of hearing my voice over there.
So great. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day.